is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
If you want our bars and our clubs to return, do better for your city.
A sobering message from Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett as he announces new coronavirus restrictions here in Marion County. Now at 4:30, his message to young people as coronavirus cases continue to spike. Plus, Vice President Mike Pence will be in Indianapolis today talking with higher education leaders about how to safely reopen schools. This morning, his message to schools as they prepare for the fall semester. And new developments in a downtown shooting. Working for you, the plea from police as they continue to work to curb downtown violence. But before we get to those top stories today, I want to thank you for starting your Friday with us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. Todd Clausen is standing by from home this morning. And Todd, what are we looking at as folks are heading out on the roads this morning?
You know, there's just a little bit of patchy fog in some spots, Lauren, across the area, but it's not very widespread. And there's a little bit of fog in Terre Haute where the visibility is down to a half a mile. And then as you work your way up towards Lafayette into Montgomery County, it gets a little bit lower, but not an issue at all here from Indianapolis to Peru to Muncie over towards Fort Wayne. So that is the good news in our forecast here for the morning hours. We should be able to burn that off very, very quickly. Here's a live look outside, and you can see the visibility as you look from downtown off to the west. Not an issue at all. Temperature-wise, we are in the 60s, so running a little bit cooler than it has been the past few mornings across the area. 66 in Bloomington right now, 65 in Tipton, and 68 in Indy. The radar is nice and quiet. All the showers should be off to our south and east for the day today. So as you look at your forecast today, mostly sunny skies this morning, turning partly cloudy this afternoon with a high temperature of 86 degrees. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads this morning. This is I-465 in Man Road down on the southwest side of town. You can see already early this morning traffic is picking up. It's traveling smoothly both eastbound and westbound. Looks like we do have a stalled semi over on the far right corner of your screen. Other than that, no major issues for your commute this morning. At 4:32, new developments this morning in a downtown shooting that left 2 people injured. This happened around 9:15 last night in front of a liquor store on North Pennsylvania Street, just north of Washington Street. Police say that an argument broke out and shots were fired. One man was critically hurt. The other suffered serious injuries. 2 suspects have now been detained, including one of the men who was injured. We talked to officers on the scene about recent downtown violence and asked what message they want to send to residents.
The thing is, everybody just needs to be aware of their surroundings, and as the old saying was going, you know, see something, say something.
As always, if you do see a crime, you can leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers by calling 317-262-TIPS. If your information helps lead to an arrest, you could be eligible for a cash reward. Turning now to the latest numbers from the State Department of Health. Indiana saw its highest single-day totals of COVID-19 cases. Thursday, 954 new cases of COVID-19 were reported. That's nearly 200 more new cases than the previous day. It is worth noting that the state also reports it performed more than 12,000 new COVID-19 tests. So far, 59,602 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with the coronavirus. The Department of Health also confirmed 17 new COVID-19 deaths. Since the pandemic began, 2,683 people in Indiana have died from the coronavirus. Tomorrow, free COVID-19 testing will be available at the city's northwest side. The Marion County Health Department will have a drive-through testing site at Witherspoon Presbyterian Church at 5136 North Michigan Road. It will be held from 9 a.m. until noon. No registration is required, and free masks will be given out.
Data also shows that for the first time, positivity rates are skyrocketing among young adults between the ages of 18 and 30, particularly when those individuals have been congregating in gyms, bars, and other indoor venues.
Alarming new numbers from the Marion County Health Department show the rate of positive COVID-19 cases has jumped nearly 50% in just the last week. Those rates are especially hitting young adults, and that's why Marion County is taking a step back. Mayor Joe Hogsett announcing yesterday new restrictions to protect the public from the virus. Starting today, the mayor has ordered all bars that do not serve food to close until at least August 12th. Restaurants will return to 50% capacity for indoor dining. The city will work with business businesses to expand outdoor dining. Social events may not exceed 50 people. Churches can hold indoor services at 50% capacity. Outdoor services will not be restricted as long as social distancing rules are followed. Hair and nail salons and spas will be by appointment only. Gyms can operate at 25% capacity. Sports venues are also under a 25% cap. Mayor Joe Hogsett says that the restrictions are the only way to get a handle on COVID-19.
A return to these measures isn't what we wanted. But right now, public health is our number one priority. Nothing else can move forward without it.
Again, restrictions take effect today. Mayor Hogsett also reminds residents masks here are still mandatory. They must be worn nose and mouth covered whenever you're around others in public, indoors, or outdoors. Indiana statewide mask mandate goes into effect on Monday, and this applies to public indoor spaces and outdoor spaces where social distancing is impossible. And while Governor Holcomb's order makes not wearing a mask a criminal offense, some police agencies say that they will not be enforcing the mandate. Law enforcement agencies in Martinsville, Johnson County, and Hamilton County all posted similar messages on social media. They say some businesses require entry with a mask, and if you refuse a worker's request, it could turn into a criminal trespass issue. They're also asking for residents to be respectful of each other regardless of how they feel about the mandate. To encourage Indianapolis residents to mask up, the city is partnering with the Arts Council for a new social awareness campaign. A flower placed as a symbol of hope for growth, cardinals for Hoosier roots, and even a masked hot air balloon for some humor among the instilled uncertainty of our times. It's Indianapolis artist William Denton Ray's depiction of our society. He's one of 6 local artists taking part in the city's initiative. It's called #MaskUpIndy. It's an effort to encourage everyone to wear a mask.
The color of the art that I did is kind of happy and vibrant and hopeful. And the idea of that is to try to, make people hopeful that we can get past this by just simply wearing a mask.
The campaign Mask Up Indy is made possible through $20,000 from the Federal CARES Act. That includes payment for the artists, thousands of posters and large banners that will soon be placed downtown. To get one of these posters for your business, you can go to our website, theindychannel.com. 4:37 here on your Friday, and schools in Marion County will not be allowed to hold in-person classes until August 5th at the earliest. And you can expect back-to-school plans to keep evolving in the next week when the health department will share more recommendations with school districts. The superintendent of Wayne Township says the district leaders have been asked to reduce the number of students on campus each day.
The only way to make that possible and to continue the learning that's going to happen is to create a model where some of your students will be learning in person and other students will be learning through a remote or e-learning model each day. So the students will be engaged all 5 days, but it may look differently depending on each individual student.
And those plans will look different depending on the school district as well. As we learn more, you can find out all the latest announcements from Central Indiana schools in one place, theindychannel.com. That page is being updated daily as new plans are released. Safely reopening colleges and universities will be the main topic of discussion when Vice President Mike Pence visits Indianapolis today. He's scheduled to speak with higher education leaders at Marion University. During a visit to South Carolina earlier this week, the Vice President said he wouldn't hesitate to send his kids back to school despite the pandemic if they were still school-aged. His wife, Second Lady Karen Pence, also says she plans to return to teaching this fall. At least one group is planning to protest across the street during the Vice President's visit. There are now more than 4 million cases of COVID-19 confirmed throughout the United States, and hospitalizations are rising in at least 41 states. Straight ahead, the sobering new predictions from the CDC on just how bad the virus could get in the next month. And if you're in the market for a new appliance like washers or dryers, even refrigerators, it could be weeks before you can order one. After the break, we're taking a look at what's behind the disruption in the supply chain. Todd.
And Lauren, a little bit of patchy fog greets us on this Friday morning as you walk out the door in spots. It's not super widespread or visibilities aren't super low, but something definitely to point out as you do take to the roadways. The good news is it turns into a beautiful Friday for us. We'll talk about today and also look ahead to your weekend forecast coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 4:39. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV 6.
Welcome back. The number of new coronavirus cases in the U.S. skyrocketing past 4 million just 2 weeks after reaching 3 million. This morning, the CDC is revisiting its prediction higher, warning that the death toll could hit 175,000 by mid-August. This as Congress continues to battle over another stimulus package. ABC's Andrew Dimbert is in Washington now with the very latest.
This morning, the U.S. passing another dark mile marker on the road to recovery in the fight against coronavirus, now reaching more than 4 million confirmed cases of COVID-19, up 1 million from just 15 days ago. More than 1,000 Americans killed by the virus for the second day in a row. The CDC pivoting predictions, warning the death toll could climb higher than expected. White House Task Force Coordinator Dr. Deborah Birx privately warning leaders in 11 cities seeing surges in cases to take immediate action, in audio obtained by the Center for Public Integrity.
This is really critical that everybody is following this and making sure they're being aggressive about mitigation efforts.
Hospitalizations rising in all but 9 states, back up to April levels. California and Florida shattering their old death toll records.
You know, at this point, it will help if everybody's wearing a mask. The data shows it decreases transmission.
From safety to savings, millions of Americans struggling to make ends meet are getting their last expanded unemployment checks this weekend, unless Congress comes together on an agreement. A $600 out-of-work lifeline is expiring, and some Republicans are pushing for that benefit to be reduced to about $200 a week.
We can't give people a disincentive to go back to work. We'll never recover from this if we're all at home watching Netflix.
And Democrats enraged about the possibility of cutting those coronavirus unemployment benefits while the virus is still spreading and rapidly.
There's all of these additional costs that Americans are having to pay for that they didn't have to prior to the COVID pandemic happening.
Although Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell projected a possible proposal to be unveiled this week, Democrats say they still haven't seen a plan for COVID-19 relief just yet. Many members expecting to see one sometime next week. Andrew Dimber, ABC News, Washington.
Also in Washington, the Senate passed a defense appropriations bill on Thursday that would require the removal of Confederate names from bases. It's similar to a measure that cleared the House, and negotiations are underway to reconcile the two plans. Both bills cleared their respective chambers with veto-proof majorities. President Trump said he'll veto the legislation if it removes Confederate names. A Virginia school district is honoring the late Congressman John Lewis. Fairfax County School Board members voted to change the name from Robert E. Lee High School on Thursday. It will now be named John R. Lewis High School. Lewis died last week after a battle with pancreatic cancer. A name change has been in the works for months now, and the civil rights icon's name was the school district's short list even before he passed away. The new name will take effect before the start of the new school year. Congressman Lewis will also be honored with 6 days of ceremonies in D.C., Alabama, and Georgia next week before he's laid to rest. Lewis's friend and fellow civil rights activist C.T. Vivian was laid to rest on Thursday. A private funeral was held at Providence Missionary Baptist Church in Atlanta. Vivian was born in Missouri and moved to Atlanta in the 1970s. He passed away in his home there on Friday. Vivian participated in the Freedom Rides and acted as an advisor to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Back in 2013, former President Obama awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, calling him a, quote, a pioneer who pulled America closer to our founding ideals. He does leave behind 6 children and several grandchildren and great-grandkids. C.T. Vivian was 95 years old. At 4:46, let's check in with Todd and see what we can expect in our Friday forecast. Hey, Todd.
Hey, Lauren, we've made it to Friday. The weekend is ahead of us. So everybody wants to know, is it going to rain over the weekend? Can you get out there and make your plans? And the answer to the question is, get outside and make those plans, because we don't have much in the way of rain heading our way. In fact, probably not until Sunday evening do we bring back about a 20% chance of an isolated storm. So most of the entire weekend and also today is going to be dry. The best chance of rain in our extended forecast is going to be during the day on Monday as we bring thunderstorms back into the forecast. A live look outside right now. Obviously still dark, but the visibility not an issue. Yesterday we had the low-hanging clouds and all that humidity around. You could barely see the city skyline. Today, that is not an issue, so your Friday is going to get off to a good start in most locations. Just a little bit of patchy fog out there in some locales, reduced visibility in Bloomington as well as Terre Haute and Lafayette. Everybody else, though, is doing just fine here this morning. Satellite radar picture is nice and quiet for you. There's some showers and storms off to our south and to our east, but that's exactly where they are going to stay during the course of the day today. A little closer to where the front is. So that front has slipped through central Indiana, and that's what's going to give us the nice weather in the coming days. 68 in Indy, 66 in Bloomington currently, and 64 is the current temperature up in Peru. So it's one of the cooler mornings that we've seen so far this week. And we will take these temperatures all the way up into the mid-80s later on this afternoon. It's going to be very seasonable for us as the temperatures warm quickly this morning through the 70s to about 80 degrees by the noon hour, and then eventually that high temperature later on this afternoon of 86 degrees. Now, as we fast forward into the day tomorrow, as you start off your Saturday, it's nice and calm in the morning. Maybe a little bit of patchy fog again come tomorrow morning, but shouldn't be all that widespread. And then it's a sun-filled day for our Saturday. All day long, we are going to feature mostly sunny skies and then eventually maybe turning a partly cloudy in the afternoon hours. But your high temperature tomorrow, anywhere from about 85 to 88 degrees. And then as we continue into Sunday, Sunday's the warmest day for you with a high temperature that's up to 91 degrees. Monday, as we mentioned, is going to be the wettest day at 88 with those scattered storms moving through. And then some storms will be possible on Tuesday. But they should be just spotty in nature. And then as we work our way into the end of the month and the end of next week, for that matter, we're looking at temperatures that'll be in the low to mid 80s. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look at your Friday morning commute. This is up on the northeast side at I-465 near Pendleton Pike. You can see traffic there is picking up. It's traveling smoothly northbound and southbound. Right now, no major crashes or delays to slow down your Friday commute. Well, there's another disruption that COVID has caused to the supply chain. Many people are having trouble buying appliances as stores experience long wait times to get the products. The pandemic either slowed down or completely stopped business at several factories and distribution centers. It left people waiting for weeks to get essential appliances like washers, dryers, and refrigerators. It's also created more demand for appliance repairs for those who can't wait for the new item. Sellers and manufacturers are now trying to catch up on a backlog for all of North America as business begins to return to normal. Facebook wants to make it easier to connect groups of people together. The social media giant has created a way to broadcast live from Facebook from Messenger rooms. You can now go live with up to 50 people. Facebook says the concept will work well for people who want to do things like host book clubs, teach fitness classes, or get a large group of friends together. You can even invite people who don't have a Facebook account. Facebook says live broadcasts doubled in June 2020 compared to the previous year, which is likely due to people trying to stay connected while socially distancing during the pandemic. A major surprise from Taylor Swift overnight. After the break, details on the surprise album the artist dropped overnight. And Crystal House Doors Adult High School, giving some people a second chance to get their high school diploma and overcome roadblocks in their path. Coming up at 5 o'clock, we'll take a look at the program and how you can sign up. It's 4:50. Stay with us. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. It is 4:54 on our Friday, and here's a live look south of downtown on I-65 and Keystone Avenue, the spot of a long-term construction project. And this morning, everything is still traveling up to speed despite some traffic shifting and some lane restrictions. We'll continue to keep you updated if there are any crashes or delays to slow you down this Friday. Huge music news that thrilled Taylor Swift fans all around the world. The artist dropping a new album and a new music video overnight. The album is called Folklore. Swift announced the release on Twitter on Thursday. In her post, she said, quote, "Most of the things I had planned this summer didn't end up happening, but there is something I hadn't planned on that did happen." After embracing her pop side the past 3 albums, the former country star switched things up again with this indie album. Taylor says that she wrote and recorded the entire thing while in isolation with the help of some co-writers. And if you needed another reason to celebrate the end of a work week, today is National Tequila Day, which means tequila for everyone. Tequila comes in many forms like Blanco Agave and brands like Jose Cuervo and Patron, just to name a few. But be sure your tequila is actually tequila. According to the nationalcalendar.com, in Mexico, there are laws on the production of tequila. It states tequila is only tequila if it's made within the Mexican state of Jalisco. So whether you are a straight shooter, like with the salt and the lime, or you enjoy your tequila with the sunrise, please celebrate responsibly today. All right, Todd, you hear that? Tequila Day.
I did hear that. It looks pretty good, even at 4:56 in the morning. Although
not a good sign.
I will say tequila is not exactly my favorite, but hey, teach their own, right, Lauren? All right, outside right now, we're dealing with temperatures that are in the 60s. It's pretty comfortable, going up to 86 for your high though this afternoon. We are going to have a very seasonable day. The humidity is not bad today with plenty of sunshine. Get out there and enjoy. 88 degrees tomorrow with mostly sunny skies. And then on Sunday, it turns a little muggier as the temperature climbs up to 91. And on Sunday, late in the day, there's the chance of a spot storm in the forecast, but nothing to worry about if you do have outdoor plans. Once we get into next week, the best rain chance in this entire forecast, that is going to be during the day on Monday with a high of 88, and then temperatures will stay in the 80s, it looks like, as we round out the month of July. The time now is 4:57. You're watching Good Morning Indiana on RTV6. We're back in just a couple minutes. We hope to see you then.